You have a history in storytelling
Mm.
in the broadcast world. I think stories have a solution here. I'm curious what your thoughts are as a creative storyteller yourself in overcoming some of these challenges from a just a cultural standpoint. I know, outside of the maybe the regulation aspect.
Yeah. Well, I think it's tricky. I mean, you're quite right. When I use stories a lot in my work because I can quote you as much data as you want, you're not going to remember it. You're just not. So I tell stories because people can relate to them, and because they relate to them, they remember them. I'm also
Yeah.
very wary that you can tell false stories and people remember those. So I think, narrative is a very powerful technology that you can use for good or ill.
Yeah.
So I don't, so I think the problem with narrative is that if it feels true, we tend to believe it's true.
Hmm.
And narrative favors consistency, but human beings
Okay.
aren't consistent. It's actually one of our
Yeah.
greatest strengths that we're not consistent. That we may do something half our lives and it always works for us, but there may come a point where we stop doing it because it doesn't work for us. So we're very good at
Hmm.
change,
Something
which means
changes.
that people are inconsistent. So if there's a problem with narrative, which is we think, for example, well, if somebody had a totally traumatic upbringing, they're going to have a bad outcome. Well, that may be true for
Hmm.
a certain percentage of people. It isn't true of everybody.
Yeah.
So I love narrative. I embrace narrative, but I'm also wary of narrative because it can sell a lot of bunk, right?
Yeah.